Hi, everyone, and welcome to CarPodChats, the only podcast that peels back the hood of the car business and tells it like it really is. I'm your host, Dan Malavé, and today we're talking about one of the hardest truths in the dealership world, the moment when you have to look a customer in the eye through the phone or a computer screen and say, that's it, this is it, that's the number, you won. Take the deal. This isn't a conversation about being pushy. It's about being real. Because sometimes as a dealership, we are literally at the end of the rope. The pencil is tapped out, the rebates are maxed, the gross is barely there, and the customer, well, they still want more. Today's episode is about how we say no gracefully, respectfully, but confidently. It's about giving the customer clarity without giving away your integrity or your store's profitability. Oh, and spoiler alert, this episode is brought to you by your manager's blood pressure monitor. Because if you've ever had to say no to someone 5 different ways and they still ask you to just check with your manager one more time, you know the feeling. So let's get into it. There's this belief out there, this myth, that car prices are just made up numbers waiting to be cut in half if you ask hard enough. And hey, I get it. Blame it on cable TV, YouTube channels, your buddy who always gets a deal, or that one uncle who claims he got a $50,000 truck for $31,000 out the door because he's connected. But here's the truth. Margins are tight, inventory isn't free, and not every dealership is printing money like back in 2005. We live in the real world where the invoice price is often not what we paid, floor plans cost are chewing up through holdback, and if we knock off another $1,000 just to make someone happy, we may as well just hand them the keys and say, you want our paycheck too? Customers always assume there's a secret stash of money we're hiding. Guess what? That stash, it's usually about $400 in the back end, if we're lucky, and maybe a free car wash. This whole idea that you can grind and always find more money is outdated. And worse, it damages trust. It trains buyers to push harder even when the deal is already a win for them. Now, here's where we have to get tactical. Saying no outright rarely works. It shuts down the conversation and puts the customer on the defensive. Instead, we learn the art of framing. We say things like, we've exhausted every incentive and resource we have. This is truly the best possible deal available. Let me walk you through what we've already done. I think you'll see we're already ahead of the market. You're walking away with more value than 90% of our buyers right now. These phrases aren't just fluff. They're positioning tools. We're guiding the customer from I want more to wow, I already got more. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Calm, assured, no need to beg or justify endlessly. The moment you start sounding unsure, the customer smells blood. This is where the desk manager matters too. A second voice, showing structure, giving confidence, bring the heat. But let's be real. Some folks are relentless. You've said, this is the deal in 6 different polite ways, and they still hit you with, what if I give you $2,000 down right now cash? Come on, meet me halfway. Or the other dealership said they could beat it. I just don't feel like I'm getting the best deal. Okay, so let's break it down. Cash doesn't help. We make less on cash buyers. Halfway usually means you move again and I'll still ask for more. Other dealer, they either didn't write it down or it's vapor. Ask them to get it in writing. They never do. And if they're still sitting there pushing, you can be firm but warm. At this point, we've truly hit our limit. If another dealer can beat this deal, I'd love to see it. But we can't go any lower and still do business the right way. This is where you call the bluff. You let the silence do the work. Don't fill the gap. Don't blink. Sometimes they walk, and that's okay. I'd rather lose a deal with my dignity than win with one that sets a bad precedent, loses money, or trains the customer that grinding always works. When you hold your ground, you send a message, not just to the customer, but to your team. You back up the process. You teach confidence. And guess what? A lot of those customers come back. The ones who left saying, I'm going down the street, return a week later, like nothing happened. Hey, is that car still available? Yep. Amazing how no one else could do better after all, huh? Now, just because the price is firm doesn't mean the value has to stop. Sometimes it's not about knocking off more dollars. It's about throwing in a little something that makes the buyer feel like a winner. A free tank of gas, a first oil change on the house, maybe a front license plate with the dealership's name on it. Okay, maybe not. But the value can be shown in service, delivery, or experience. When we say, take the deal, we can still make the deal feel good. Frame it as a win. Say things like, you got a better deal than 95% of the buyers in the country right now. Or, you're getting it for less than what we can even advertise online. Honestly, this is the kind of deal that makes other salespeople jealous. That's how you say no with a smile. So what's the takeaway? Sometimes the best service we can offer a customer is honesty, not bending the truth, not creating false hope, just straight talk. This is it. You've already won. Saying no doesn't have to be aggressive. It doesn't have to be negative. It's the moment we treat the customer like a partner, not an opponent. And when it's done right, that no actually builds trust. Now, before we go, quick story. I had a customer once who spent 4 hours negotiating a deal. Back and forth, every angle wore out 2 salespeople and 3 Sharpies. I finally came out and said, we're at the floor. This is the number. It's over. He says, I'll think about it, and leaves. 2 hours later, he's back, walks in, sheepish, and says, you guys were the only ones who actually told me the truth. Sold. That's the power of standing firm. This has been CarPodChats. I'm Dan Malavé. Thanks for riding along. If you've ever had to deliver that final take it or leave it, you know what I'm talking about. See you next time.